Absolutely delighted to have Ajay from Verdure Sciences to join us to talk about Curcuma longa and his company's long history with developing one of the leading curcuma longa or curcumin-containing products in the world. And it's a really great pleasure to meet you, Ajay.
Thank you, Nigel. It's a pleasure to meet you as well.
And we're really interested in the Natural Health Science Foundation about the challenges that you have as a leading research-based company to develop a reliable product. Is the quality of the source to patient process for curcuma longa, is that a problem for this particular herb?
Yeah, so that's a great question. As you know, the global demand for botanicals in general is growing globally, and specifically curcuma longa or turmeric. Naturally, with a growing demand, there's bound to be some of those bad players in the industry that are trying to take shortcuts with respect to making those short-term economic gains. And turmeric is one of them. There is some history of turmeric extracts spiked with synthetic curcumin as an adulterant. There was a situation in Italy about 2 years ago where they had some cases of hepatitis taking turmeric supplements, and they traced it back to one of the reasons that they mentioned was potentially adulterated with some synthetic curcumin. So knowing your source and then managing the source all the way to the supplement is extremely important. And that's one thing that as Verdure, we have done this for many years, being in business for almost 25 years. One of the key elements of what we do is the chain of custody and the supply chain integrity. So when I say supply chain integrity, I talk about knowing exactly where, for example, the turmeric is grown, how is it grown, how is it harvested, and then how is it processed post the harvesting into what we would then convert it into an extract that is standardized to curcuminoids, or further converting it into our formulation that is called Longvida.
If somebody was looking to buy a curcuma longa or curcumin-containing product anywhere around the world, are they highly variable into product?
Depending on the markets, yes, you would find different types of turmeric extracts.
Mm-hmm. And so if somebody wants to purchase a product containing your Longvida, as I understand it, you sell that to finished product manufacturers who then formulate it into their own products.
Yeah, so Longvida is a globally positioned brand. Talking about specifically about Australia, we have partnered with Blackmores, for example. So Blackmores has a product, I believe that's called Curcumin 1 a day, and they will reference the Longvida ingredient in the supplement panel or somewhere on the label that it contains the Longvida turmeric extract or formulation. Most of our customers, they do a very similar sort of display of the ingredient, which is in this case Longvida. So it'll be displayed either on the front of the label or in the supplement panel, or at some point of their packaging and marketing, they would mention the term Longvida, which would tell a consumer that this is the optimized sort of form of curcumin that comes from Verdure Sciences. And that's part of the licensing requirements that we have with the supplement brands that we work with, is that they would display the name Longvida on the label, again, provided that they can use the therapeutic or the clinically proven dose. And that's, again, very important. It's not just having the brand or the ingredient name on the label, but it's to have a clinically substantiated dose in the product that the consumer is finally consuming.
Fantastic, because I think that's a really important point. So that sounds like it's fantastic that you do that. I have one final question, actually, and it's a question that came from our panel of healthcare professionals, and that was really about the bridge between traditional use of turmeric or traditional history in Ayurvedic medicine and modern science formulations like Longvida. Could you kind of explain to us the bridge, because you formulated a product that's got very high bioavailability of the curcuminoids. Are the curcuminoids actually the active ingredient from a traditional use point of view?
Yeah, absolutely. So as you may know or have heard, in the Indian tradition, turmeric, which is a very popular spice, has been used in everyday cooking for generations, for centuries. And the way that turmeric is typically used in traditional cooking is either mixing it with so-called ghee, which is Indian butter, or it is also added to hot milk and mixed with hot milk and then consumed in that way. When they mix it in either the ghee in cooking or in the milk, there are these lipid particles or sort of the fatty component of the ghee as well as in the milk, which actually are responsible for sort of protecting, attaching to the curcuminoid particles so that they can get absorbed into the body. Because if you take curcumin or turmeric as such, then it has very poor bioavailability because it breaks down in the harsh environment of the stomach. And so by combining it with a lipid, it sort of protects the curcumin and curcuminoids. And that's really been the basis, if you think about it, of the technology behind Longvida. Because Longvida, again, addresses, as you mentioned, the bioavailability challenges with turmeric or with curcumin and curcuminoids. And it's been done by really mixing the turmeric extract with lipids so as to bypass the typical metabolic pathway and get absorbed through the lymphatic delivery system. Now, in terms of the consumption of turmeric, traditionally, of course, it's done not only in terms of the concentration of curcuminoids, it's smaller amounts at one given time, but keep in mind that you're taking large quantities of the product itself, and you're taking it on a daily basis for pretty much for all your life in the traditional way it's used. Versus when you have something like Longvida, again, Longvida is not standardized to the high percentages of the curcuminoids like you'll find in the traditional form, which is typically 95% curcuminoids. In Longvida, the actual curcuminoids levels are in the range of 20 to 23%. And so it's already much lower to begin with. However, as a result of the technologies, or the SLCP technology, as we call it, it really protects those curcuminoid particles and enables it to be absorbed through the lymphatic delivery system. So we also have a lot of excellent safety, which is associated with Longvida, up to several grams on a daily basis. So that's another aspect of Longvida, which really helps with respect to not only its bioavailability, but also its safe use.
Well, that's fantastic. And we really appreciate all of the your wisdom and knowledge about this very important and very well-used botanical substance and natural medicine around the world. So Ajay, many thanks and all the very best.
Thank you, Nigel. I appreciate the time.
Thank you very much for your attention. The Natural Health Science Foundation was incorporated in New York in 2014. We're an independent, not-for-profit organization dedicated to assisting the public, health professionals, and other stakeholders make informed choices of natural health products based on robust science and specific evidence. Our governance is independent and through a self-perpetuating board of directors, with no control by donors, members, or any outside people or organizations. For more information, feel free to visit the NHSF website. Thank you.